Right, welcome back to another quick play baseball tutorial. In this video, I'm actually going to introduce something that I've created, or I suppose I'm in the process of creating. I started this maybe 2 months ago, and a lot of people, when they play quick play baseball, are like, this is great. Is there any way to incorporate pitching? So how can we get the pitchers involved? And that is something that I put my head to for many months. I've been thinking about it long before anyone asked about it, and so I was really just trying to think about how can I manipulate that, because we only have, we're using a deck of cards. So how can I manipulate the deck of cards so that we can incorporate pitching? And I think I've stumbled upon what will be the final solution. I've only played a few games with this, so I don't know over the long run if it makes that much difference, quite honestly. On paper and according to the numbers, it should make a lot of difference, but whether it does or not, I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to show you what I put together. I've only done this for the 1978 National League at this point, and if you want to have this sent to you so you can demo the National League, it's 78 National League. I'll send you the pitchers and the batters from the National League so you can demo it, and I would love to just get your feedback on the gameplay, and does it make any difference? I mean, that's really what I want to know, because I don't want to convolute the game with a bunch of things that don't make any difference. Now, this is really basic, so it's not going to convolute the game necessarily, I don't think, but it's just sort of an extra thing for me to have to produce. And if it's for no reason, I don't really want to do that. I think it's going to have more effect on more recent teams, as you're going to get different grades. So I'm grading the pitching staff, so you're going to get different grades. You're definitely going to get some C level teams. I'm looking at 1978, and they're all A's and B's, so it's not going to make a huge difference for some of these older teams, because pitching was either better or hitting was worse. I'm not sure, well, maybe both. But most teams are going to be A-level teams, much less individual pitchers. So I think there's no C individual pitcher on here, so that tells you a lot. Okay, so let me walk through this very quickly. Let's see if we can zoom in a little on one of these teams. So this is the Braves, and can we see that very well? Okay, so you have your team name here, and then I've added, this is just for pitchers, by the way, this is a whole sheet. So you would have the pitchers, and then you would have the batters as well, right? So you would have both of those sheets. Now you would just reference the pitchers whenever you needed to, but you would play off of the roster sheets. So this black number, well, it's a white letter with the black square. That represents the total team FIP. FIP is what we're using, not ERA. So fielding independent pitching is what FIP stands for. And there are 3 grades. So A is any team from a 0 to a 3.50 FIP. A B is anything from, I believe it's 3.5 to 4.75. And then a C is anything greater than 4.75. Now, it's easy to do more grades than that, but the problem is we only have so many cards, so we can't just keep removing all the cards. So it's a little bit of a fine line between the game engine and what we're using here. So don't ask me to do more, because it just means taking more cards out of the deck, which I don't think is, by the numbers, is not gonna, it's gonna produce too wild a swing, maybe is a good way to put it. Okay, so we have the overall pitching staff. This is starters and relievers, doesn't matter. This is their overall grade for the season. Here, to the right of the name, we have 2 boxes. And the first one represents the starters. So their starters are an A, and the relief corps is a B. Now, relief corps is loose, so it's taken very loosely. Each team has 4 relievers. So you can see these last 4, that's their top 4 relievers. So you're not getting the full gamut here. You could do that on your own very easily just by saying what I said before. So A is 0 to 350 and or 3.5. A B is 3.5 to 3 or 4.75, and then a C is going to be anybody who's 4.76 or more. And that's a FIP, and that goes throughout history. FIP is calculated back to the beginning of time, at least baseball time. So you would be able to do this with any team in history, just like I've done with the batters. So you have the starters, and then you have the relievers. So you can see with the Reds here that they're A and A. The Dodgers, who I'll be doing a series with, just playing with the pitchers. So the Dodgers are an A and A. I only have one pitcher here that has a B. So loaded pitching staff, but you can see here that the Braves, they have one guy who has a C. And then that's the third way that you can play, is you can just go by individual pitcher. So you have all your starters here: Niekro, Hanna, Mailer, McWilliams, and Ruthven. I don't know how you say it. And then Garber, Campbell, Skoke, and Solomon. Those are your relievers. So you would have the opportunity to switch these guys out as you saw fit, if you wanted to do pinch hitting and things like that in the game. The game is sort of open to those types of changes. But if you wanted to make a rule, pitchers only go 7 innings or something like that. So here we are. You can use this as a rating. You can use these two as a rating, or you can do the individual ratings, or you can do some sort of a combination of both. Let's say for your own team that you're playing, you want to do each individual person, but for the computer team, the team that you're playing against, and you don't really want to handle any of the individual players, you can just use a single rating, or you can use the starters and relievers rating. So you can sort of mix and match and see how that changes the game. You can mix and match just so you don't have to keep fiddling with the decks. There's not a lot to do, but it does require sort of one more thing to think about. If you use the overall, then you would just basically set the decks for the game, and then that would be it. If you use the starters and relievers, then you could set a rule like the starter is only going to go 7 innings or 8 innings or 6 innings or whatever it is, and then after that you start using the reliever rating, right? And then obviously you can go with the pitchers, and you can set your own sort of rules based on, let's say, Phil Niekro's batters faced. I don't know what that is, but you could figure it out very easily. All you have to do is divide total batters faced by the number of games or games started, and then you would get his batters faced per game. So that is the pitching. Now the way that we physically do it, so I'll zoom out here a little bit. The way that we get it set up is when we're using the pitching, we're going to split our deck into 2. These don't have to be any particular suit, but I have separated them out as red and black, so that you can see they're mixed suits here. And what I've done is I've got 2 through 10. You can see here. So starting at 2 all the way, and then I have 2 10s. So 2 through 9, and then 2 10s. It's the same thing in this deck over here. And what we do for the pitching is we just take away, before we even start, we take away the 2s and 3s, And now your deck is ready for an A-level pitcher. So starting at 4 through 9, and then the 2 10s. So now you're ready for an A-level pitcher or an A-level team, you know, depending on how you do it. It's the same for pitchers or teams or, you know, cores, however you want to do that. So we do the same thing with the black. And so now you would have 2 A-level pitchers. You'd have 2 A-level pitchers going against one another, starting at the 4 and going all the way to the 9, and then you add the 2 10s. The 10s are for hits, right? So if you played the game, you're familiar with that. Now, for a B, if you have a B team, let's see, is there a B on here? There's no B overall, but let's say you wanted to play starters and relievers, and so the relievers are a B, or one of these individuals is a B. Now you remove the 4, and now your deck is set for a B level pitcher. And you would do that, so this would be an A level pitcher starting at 4. This would be a B level pitcher starting at 5. And for a C level, let's say you brought in Dave Campbell. Remove the 5. Now you have 6 through 9 and the 2 10s. Now basically what this does with the numbers is that these are your outs. So it takes away an out and leaves the 10s. It leaves the opportunities for hits. You could go so far as if you had sort of an extreme pitcher and he was an extreme A. I'm talking Hall of Famers, Sandy Koufax types, who just aren't going to give up a lot of hits. You could even remove a 10 from the equation because that would cut down the number of hits. So having 2 10s is 2 possibilities out of 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2 for 8 possibilities for a hit, which is not very many. That's 1/4. It's about a 250 batting average, which is going to be your A-level pitcher. If you take one away, that's going to be 2 chances out of 2, 4, 6, 7. So 2 chances out of 7 is a little bit higher. And then 2 chances out of 6 is about 1/3. So you're talking a 333 average. So that's sort of the thinking behind pulling one of the outs out. So you're changing the ratio, you're changing the numerator in the equation, the top number, but is that right? No, you're changing everything. So you're removing 1, you're changing the entire equation when you remove 1 from there. So the denominator changes and the numerator. So that's the thinking behind adding the pitching. And you can see that theoretically it should produce more hits, right? To remove outs is to increase the chance that it's a hit. But in reality, you know, these games don't always play out like they should necessarily, which is part of the beauty of it. And sometimes they play out too much like they should. And that's also the beauty of it. So it's sort of randomized. So that's how you would add pitching. And if you have any questions about this, or again, if you want to get this 1978 pitching staff, I'll be happy to send you the National League pitchers and batters that I have. You would get this sheet here. Basically, you can see all the National League teams and lots of people. This is the year I was born, so not familiar with 1978, but I know I'm going to play a Dodger replay from August 15th to September 15th. And basically they were tied on August 15th, and they ended September 16th up 9 games, which I can see from the standings that they only won by like 2.5 games. So at the end, so they almost gave it away. But it was a key stretch for them from August to September, and so I'm going to play that stretch of games. It shouldn't take too long because these games only take 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm going to be using the pitching. So we're going to have Sutton, Hooten, Tommy John, Doug Rauch, Rick Rhoden, and then Charlie Huff, Forster, Routes, and Castillo in the bullpen. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do, and we'll just play out the schedule for them. If you have any questions about this, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like or subscribe. I know this isn't On Base, but this is part of, kind of part of the On Base family. Mostly because I made it, not because it's actually part of the On Base family, but it's just part of my family. So I'm going to leave this up here, and if you want this, you can just request it. You can email me at onbasebaseball@gmail.com and send an email there and just say, hey, I'd like to try out the pitching or the quick play pitching, or I'd like to get the 78 National League with the pitching. So feel free to do that. A couple of guys have already requested that and sent it off, so I'm just sort of waiting to hear some feedback from them. But if you want to play it, I'd love to get your feedback on it, not just play it. So I will I'll see what happens here. Look for the replay games, and I would just be doing those a handful at a time, just to try to work my way through that 20 or 30 games or whatever it is for the Dodgers. And you can see in action just sort of how this will work. I'll do it with just the teams, and then I'll do it with just starters and relievers, and I'll do a little bit of mixing and matching using the individuals as well. All right, if you would like to subscribe to the channel, that would be great. I put content about mostly On Base baseball here, and also quick play. So I'll play in some. You can see the quick play playlist. So click subscribe, and then when you click subscribe, if you hit the bell, you'll actually get a notification when I put out new video content. So you won't have to just come searching for that. And if it goes a couple of weeks with nothing, you won't be wondering. You'll just be notified whenever I push a video out. And I appreciate everyone who's subscribed so far. I think we're up to almost 40, so that's pretty good. And if we can get that to 50, that would be great. And then we'll shoot past that as well. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.